you very much for that wonderful and rousing welcome to our panel of speakers this afternoon. First of all, can I say that it's a great privilege today to be chairing this conference, and could I start by asking you all to join with me in thanking our co-sponsors, the International Committee in Search of Justice and the Belgian Parliamentary Committee for a Democratic Iran. We are particularly delighted that we have such high-level speakers, many of whom have come a great distance, many from America, who've come to be with us today and to participate in our conference. We are, of course, more than delighted that we have with us Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that we are holding this important conference today against the disastrous background of the increasing cruelty inside Iran, where only days ago Jafar Kazemi and Mohammed Ali Haj Akai were executed simply for the crime of having children in Camp Ashraf. That is an utter disgrace, and Iran should be ashamed of itself. The mullahs have hanged 88 people so far this year. 10 were hanged in one day alone last week. But first, they were brutally flogged before being dragged to the gallows. And anyone who tries to expose this evil, like Nasrin Sotoudeh, is immediately targeted. The mullahs have now taken to arresting, torturing and hanging the parents of refugees in Ashraf. Simply visiting your son or daughter is enough to guarantee a death sentence when you return to Iran, as we saw indeed in the horrific judicial murder of Ali Saremi in late December. In a pathetic attempt to appear dismissive, the criminal regime in Tehran describes the PMOI as a terrorist grouplet. And yet this so-called grouplet features on top of every agenda, at every meeting between the mullahs and their neighbours in Iraq, at every meeting with representatives from the EU and the US. They fear them because they know they are the only realistic opposition to their corrupt fascist regime. The PMOI networks inside Iran were the ones who risked their lives to expose the regime's aggressive nuclear plans to the West. Number one target is that iconic symbol of resistance to their regime, Camp Ashraf, and its 3,400 courageous residents. We know only too well the lengths Khamenei went to prevent the removal of the PMOI from the EU terror list. I know from my own personal experience how hysterical they became when we invited Mrs. Rajavi to come to the European Parliament to address the ruling EPP political group. At that time, Javier Solana was our High Representative for Foreign Affairs, and he was placing urgent calls to Angela Merkel, José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero, Nicolas Sarkozy, Silvio Berlusconi, and Wolfgang Schüssel, who was at that time the Chancellor of Austria, and virtually all of the other key leaders in Europe, stating openly that Tehran was threatening to pull the plug on the nuclear talks if we went ahead with our meeting with Mrs. Rajavi. I myself received ominous phone calls from people claiming to be senior officials in the Foreign Office in London, but who subsequently turned out to be MI6 intelligence officers. Strange that the exiled leader of this insignificant grouplet should merit such hysteria in Tehran. But we won those battles. We resisted the pressure. We invited Mrs. Rajavi to the Parliament. We exposed the lies and the distortions which had been used to justify the PMI's listing on the British and EU terror blacklists. And in successive court cases, we were victorious, finally forcing the British and the EU to remove the PMI from their lists and to restore their reputation as valid campaigners for freedom and democracy. And we exposed the wretched policy of